Now today we are going to talk about two things. One is EIB inbound, and then I'm gonna give you some details of encryption and decryption. Encryption and decryption, how it works into Workday. So these are the two things I'm gonna cover. So EIB, I'm picking one simple one EIB, and then you can explore others. I mean, to show you guys, I'm just picking one simple EIB. Later, you can try to change the legal name or the name of any person, the email address of any person. Okay, you can try those EIBs. Okay, now here to create EIB inbound. To create EIB, I'm gonna use terminate employee. I'm gonna show you how to terminate employee using inbound EIB. First of all, let us understand what is inbound EIB. So as of now, whatever integrations you have seen, those integrations are extracting data and sending to other system, basically generating, extracting data from Workday. Now EIB inbound, when I say EIB inbound, that means this EIB inbound is going to do transactions into Workday system. Okay, this EIB inbound is going to do transaction. As in, if you want to change the name of any person, if you want to terminate any employee, if you want to load data in bulk into Workday, then you can use the EIB inbound. The only thing is you will be able to do one job at a time. I mean, you will be able to do multiple business process. Like in one business process, there are multiple steps. Okay, so you will be able to execute all those steps in just one go. You can load the data in bulk. You can hire people in bulk. You can terminate people in bulk. You can change the phone numbers in bulk. Okay, so you will be able to do all these things in bulk. Okay, it's not only like you have to do things in bulk. Even if you give one record in the template, that is going to work. Okay, so EIB is mainly for EIB is mainly for loading the data, updating the data, deleting the data into Workday. Okay. Now to create EIB inbound, we have the same task. The task is create EIB. Okay. Now I'm showing here. Here you just go type create EIB. When you click on create EIB, you will get a very familiar screen, which you have used for EIB outbound. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So now I'm saying INT005 Ganesh. Sorry. Ganesh batch 4 terminate employee EIB inbound. I have given the name. I have selected inbound, then clicking on OK. When I click on OK, then again, the EIB name will come, ID will come. Now go to the next, get data. In get data, you have to get the data. So basically here you will see there are multiple retrieval method. Okay. I mean, do you want to get the data from any server, from any SFTP server, or from where exactly you want to get the data? Okay. If you want to fetch the data from S3 bucket, or let's say from SFTP, you can use the respective option here. But when you will select, then you have to configure the details as well. Like if you're selecting the SFTP, then you should be having your SFTP address, directory, authentication method, user ID, password, and all those things. Okay, if you're selecting the SFTP. But let's say you have to, this is something is not a recurring activity. This is something a manual activity most of the time. You are not going to use a automated retrieval method. Instead, you are going to use as retrieve attach file at launch. So when you select attach file at launch, what happens? Whatever file you are going to attach, during launching the integration, that file will be used to just load the data, correct the data in the system. Okay, so here I have mentioned attach file at launch. When I launch the integration, it is going to ask me to attach the file. Okay. Now this is tribal method. I'm using attach file at launch, and then here you can see data format. So the data format I'm using web service as spreadsheet template. Here you will be having two options: web service service as spreadsheet template, and then custom object as spreadsheet template. Okay. So custom object template is actually when you need to update data for custom objects. Okay. In Workday, like calculated field, there is another concept, custom object. Okay. We do not explain those things in the learning session because those are complicated things. Once you get used to of the all Workday delivered fields and all, then automatically you are going to learn the custom objects as well. Okay. So if you need to if you need to update anything in the custom object, you are going to use custom object spreadsheet template. Now if you need to use if you want to update the data available in Workday, then you have to use web service a spreadsheet template. Okay. These are also some way in good interview questions when you are saying EIB. Now when you are selecting the file type, then here you have to select like what operation you want to do. Okay. So let's say I want to do terminate employee. Okay. See, right now I don't know anything. I just know like I need to update the phone number, or I need to update the names, or I need to terminate the employee. This is the only thing I know. Now here in web service operation, you don't know which one is it will be useful for what. Okay. Now here when you search, there is a Workday public web service. Even if you don't have access to Workday community, then you will be having one thing here. Okay, google.com is blocked. Okay. This is not good. I'm gonna ask. Okay, there is in Workday also you will be able to see. I will show you, how you can see, but I wanted to show you, the structure which is available on the website, because that is more good. Maybe I'll show you tomorrow. So here, let's say I have to terminate employee. Okay, I don't know the web service operation name. So what I'll do is I'll try to just give some name, and we'll see if there is anything related to that. So when I mentioned Termi, I got four web services. In these four web services, basically I can see there is a terminate employee web service. Okay. Now the other import terminate employee web service, put payment term, put customer. This these three doesn't seem relevant. Okay. Just reading all these things, it doesn't seem like this is relevant. This is the most relevant. I can just think of like this will be used to terminate the employee. I can just use this one. Later you will be, you will understand more like whether you should be using this or not. Basically, there is one portal where we can check, and you will get the description of all the web services there, and then you will be able to decide whether you should be using this one or not. If you're not sure, then uh, you need to create the template, you need to download the template, and then you would need to analyze. Maybe that is something I'll show you guys tomorrow, but let us understand like when we select the web service operation, how exactly it works. So I have to terminate employee. Now I have got one web service operation which is to terminate employee. Okay. Once I have configured, I have to click on next. So transformation type, here you can see template model. There is just one template model, and template model from web service operation. Okay. Here you don't need to do anything. You don't need to do anything. Just remain, leave this as it is, and then click on next. Yeah, now deliver. So here also automatically it is configured. See, basically in get data, when you are selecting like what operation you are trying to do, automatically transform deliver will be configured. Okay, in deliver also see delivery method is web service operation. There is just one delivery method, that is Workday web service operation, and it is by default selected terminate employee web service. Okay, so you don't need to configure anything here as well. This is automatically configured. Now click on next. Review your configuration. These are very minimal configuration you have to do in EIB inbound. Now click on OK. When you click on OK, your EIB inbound integration is created in the system. Yep. So EIB inbound integration has been created. Okay. Now integration has been created, but how to pass the data? How exactly this integration is going to work. Okay. So for that one, there is another step. you go to the related action. See, you have selected template model. Transformation type is web service template model. Now here, when you go to the enterprise, when you go to the, where is that? Oh, sorry. So when you go to the related action of integration, you will see one template model. Okay. In this template model, you will be having view, edit, but you prefer generate a spreadsheet template. You just click on generate a spreadsheet template. When a spreadsheet template will be generated, here you just click on confirm. Here you can see XLSX and basically Excel file or XML. XML would be difficult for you guys to understand. So I would recommend, you select XLS file. This will be Excel file. Now click on submit. When you click on submit, it is going to generate one Excel sheet, which will be the template for the CIB. Okay, so just allow some time and it will generate one template for you. So here creating EIB is something, but there are many more things after creating EIB. The main thing is like how to populate data in the template. How exactly we know like which field and which IDs should be used in that EIB template, and then how to execute this one. Those are the main things, okay, which I have to explain. And for that one, I need the Excel Excel sheet. So meanwhile, they are looking into that. Let me just cover another topic. Okay, and this EIB inbound is actually a good topic. So I don't want to just complete in rush only. Okay, so basically, we'll see when they will fix. I'll chase them. Now let's talk about encryption, decryption. Anything you want to? You have another thought, Dilip, Nishant, Sweta, or should I go ahead with?
No, once the issue is fixed, now we can talk about that, Ganesh. We can go to the next topic, yeah.
Yep. So basically now let us understand encryption and decryption. Now encryption and decryption, basically we know what is encryption and what is decryption. For example, let's say my name is Ganesh, okay, and I am encrypting this into some cipher text. Let's say, okay, let's say this one is my encrypted name. Okay, this is also Ganesh, and this is also Ganesh. This is also Ganesh. Okay, both are Ganesh. Now this is the plain text, and this is the encrypted one. Okay. Now when you say, let's say I am not encrypting anything, and if I am giving you the file which is having my name, you will be able to easily understand like what this file is having. Now if I send you another file with this thing, you will simply think like, what the hell is this? You will not be able to understand anything, right? So basically why encryption applies is because of the data security. Okay. We have to, in Workday, you have all the confidential information stored for employees. Okay. And you should not be exposing those confidential information to, with anyone. Okay. Let's say you are delivering the files from Workday to SFTP server, and from SFTP server, Concur is consuming the data. If you are not encrypting the file, what will happen? The person who is having the SFX access, SFTP access, that person will be able to open the file and see the data. Now, let's say you are working in US. Now, in US, you understand the criticality of SSN number. That is a very confidential employees, very confidential details of any employee, any individual in the US. Okay, SSN number is very confidential information. Now let's say you are sending SSN details from Workday to one of the system, and you are using SFTP. Now you are not encrypting the data. When you are not encrypting the data, that means in the transmission, if anyone hacks your transmission, and if somehow that person gets the file, he will be able to access the SSN of all the individuals. Okay. Now let's say hacking has not been done in the transmission. When you are placing the file in the SFTP and someone else is having access to the SFTP, okay, in that case that person can access the data, that person can access the confidential data, and that will be kind of data breach. Okay, so in general, whatever data we extract from Workday, we generally used to encrypt first, and then we used to send those data to any other system. Okay, and that is the key thing. If you are seeing, let's say you are working in any organization, and there you see encryption is not there, immediately ask to apply the encryption, because encryption is mandatory. You are dealing with very confidential information. You are dealing with the bank accounts. You are dealing with the date of birth. You are dealing with the health data. Okay, you are dealing with a lot of confidential data. Okay, so when you are sending the file to any other system, the file should be encrypted. Okay, now encryption is this one. Let's say you have in Workday, the file is generated this one, but you have not delivered file with this value. You have delivered the file with this value. Okay, now in SFTP, this value has been sent. Now when it is reaching out to the target system, let's say Conquer, then this value has to be converted again to this one. Okay, so this is what is called encryption. Okay, here this is encryption. Encryption is happening here. Now when you are sending the data in this way, and after this, in target system, they are going to get this data only, and then they are going to decrypt this data, decrypt the file, and after decrypting, they will be able to see Ganesh again. Okay, so basically what is happening in source system, you will be able to see the values. In target system, you will be able to see the values, but in between, whatever is happening, whatever transmission and other things are happening, that is something you won't be able to see. Okay, even if you have the access to the file, you will not be able to see the exact data. Okay, now this is encryption and decryption. Okay, now how exactly did this encryption happens? Okay, for encryption and decryption, there is a mechanism of keys. Okay, the keys like private, public, key pairs. Okay, so what happens to encrypt the file? You would need public key, and this public key is shareable. This is something target system is going to share with source system. Okay, now to decrypt the file, public plus private key will be used. Okay, now this private key is confidential and will not be shared with anyone. Only target system will have the values. Okay, only target system will have the keys. Okay, so there is two things, private key and public key. So these two things, basically, we generate public private key pair. This is private key pairs. Okay, private public key pair. That means whenever you generate the keys, two keys will be generated. One will be the public key, another will be the private key. Okay, now here, yeah. So yeah. So let's say let us take the example now. Let's say the data is flowing from Workday to Concur. Okay, this is one scenario one. In this case, as the data will be sent to Concur, okay, the data will be sent to Concur, and encryption is required at Workday end. So public key will be required at Workday end, and private key will be required at Concur end. So in this case, Conquer will be generating the public private keys. Conquer to generate public private keys and share public key with Workday. In Workday, what will happen? Workday will install or configure public key and use this public key to encrypt the file during delivery, during file delivery. Okay, so scenario one, when Workday to Conquer data is flowing from Workday to Conquer, Conquer is going to generate public private key pairs and Conquer is going to share public key with Workday. When Conquer will share public key with Workday, Workday will install that public key in Workday and use this public key to encrypt the file during the file delivery. Okay, now scenario two. Scenario two is the data is opposite. Let's say Conquer to Workday. Okay. So in this case, Workday will be generating private key pairs, means public private key pair, and share public key with Conquer. Conquer will be using this key to encrypt the file and share file during file delivery. There will be one source system, there will be target system. The system which will require to encrypt the file, that system is not going to generate the public file. Instead, the system which is consuming the data, that system has to consume public private key pair and then share the public key with the source system. Okay, always. Okay, now let's see how the key looks like and how we install the keys into Workday and how we configure during the file delivery. So I'm showing in one of the outbound integration. Let's say INTSY is Ganesh batch 4. EIB outbound, let's say this one. Okay, so now to encrypt, this is outbound integration. Now when you go to delivery, yeah, now when you go to delivery, in the deliver, if you go, just click on this details. In this detail, you will be able to see encrypt using, right? So here you are going to attach the public key. Okay, these are the public key someone has already created. Okay, once you attach this public key, it's a PGP public key I'm using, then what will happen during the delivery of the file? The file is going to be encrypted using this key. Okay, the file is going to be encrypted using this key. Okay, and then these are the things like text mode, ASCII armored, and contain integrity check. This is something you need to test with the downstream, like if they have configured these things in the keys as well. If they have configured, then you need to select some of these things. Okay, so basically you have to use the keys here in encrypt using, you have to configure the keys. Now how exactly we are going to install the keys, let me show you. So if someone is giving you Workday their public key and you have to install the public key into Workday, there is a task, create PZP public key. Okay, create PZP public key. Click on this. And then here they are going to give you the key, the certificate which you have to install. Here you, okay, let me generate the private key first, then I'll show you how to install public key. So let's understand how, if you need to create public private key pair, then how exactly you will do. So here you will be having two tasks. One is to create PGP public key. With this create PGP public key is to install the public key shared by the target system. Okay, when you are the target system, okay, then in that case you have to create the PGP private key pair and you have to share the public key with them. Okay, I am creating one PGP private key pair. To create PGP private key pair, click on this one. Once you click, you have to give some name. Let's say batch 4 test PGP key. Okay, and I am giving like the certificate will be valid till let's say not 2028, let's say 2030. Okay, this certificate will be valid till 2030. Now click on OK. Once you click on OK, the key pair will be generated. Okay, now here private key Workday does not allow anyone to see private key. Okay, you won't be able to see the private key, but you can configure the private key when you have inbound integrations. Okay, in the retrieval, the way I have shown in the delivery, you can configure encrypt using same thing. During the retrieval, you will be able to see option decrypt using. Okay, and there you have to configure this private key pair. Now you have to select public key with them. You don't need to share all these things, but you have to share this thing. Just copy this thing from begin to this one. This is the certificate. This is something you can copy in one notepad file and you can share with them. Okay, this is the public key. Okay, so this is the public key. This is how we create private public key pair in Workday. Now I'm copying and just to show you guys example, I'm copying this certificate. I'm gonna use this certificate to create public key. Now this time I'm creating the public key. To create public key, again you just go to create PGP, create PGP public key. Here you can just mention batch 4 test public key. So when you need to install the public key, they are going to give you the keys like this one. This is what they are going to give you. Okay, once they give you, what you need to do is you need to copy this certificate. This is what we call certificate. Okay, you just need to copy these certificates. Once you copy this certificate, just paste here. Automatically valid from and valid to will appear. Okay, and see the end date this is automatically populated. Now once you click on OK, your public key is installed in Workday. Okay, now your public key is installed in Workday. Now if I go to the integration, you will be able to see this public key as well. This is just an example. This is Workday to Workday. It's not, I have shown you to create public key using the private key I have created into Workday. It's not like that. Other system is going to generate public private key pair and they are going to share the public key and you have to use that public key in Workday to create PGP public key. Okay. It's not like,
understood.
Yeah, it's not like I'm showing you and you're doing the same thing. That's not going to work. Batch 4. Now this is EIB outbound. Now here again, I'm just going to edit interface. Here, if you go to details, then here encrypt using in retrieval. During retrieval, we are creating inbound integration, right? And there you can select the SFTP. Just select the SFTP, and there you will in the details you will be able to see decrypt using. Here you can see encrypt using. There you will be able to see decrypt using. So when you see encrypt using, you have to mention the public key here. Whenever you see the decrypt using, then you have to use the private key here. Okay. Now here, let's see our key is created or not. See here, you can see the batch port is public key. Click on this. Now, once you click on this, your file is going to be encrypted using this one. Here also, whenever you create, always try to mention the tenant. Like this delivery has been configured for implementation tenant and sandbox tenant. Now click on OK. In for production, it should be production. Now click on next. Your keys are configured. Okay. Now when this integration will run, in integration event, you will be able to see unencrypted file. But when this integration will deliver file to SFTP, and if you log into SFTP and you try to download and see the data, you won't be able to see. So during delivery, integration is going to encrypt the file. Then I'm wrapping up the session.